Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome to Endless Space 2, a game I saw at EGX and then basically immediately afterwards started hurriedly emailing the devs, desperately trying to get my hands on as soon as possible. So this is basically a great big spacey strategy type of thing. Obviously I've kind of been in love with those recently, I've really kind of had a bit of a thing for those recently. I kind of fell in love with Stellaris and I still am. I'm really looking forward to Civilization 6, and if I play much more Civilization 5, I suspect my doctors may start classifying it as a medical condition. And this, from what I saw at EGX this year, looks a little bit like all of the above. You know, aesthetically it's very Stellaris, but it's a little bit more like Civilization so far as there's lots of different victory conditions. Stellaris, it's all kind of ultimately about the military, at least for now. Though, of course, they are still building Stellaris. It's still in a very early form, and obviously there'll be lots to come yet. But Endless Space 2 feels really, really interesting. It's going to be entering early access in a few days from now, later this week. I'll put a link in the description below and a confirmation on the exact release date if I actually have one down there as well. But yes, I just kind of wanted to dig into this one a little bit. I've already just played a little kind of tutorial game just to familiarise myself with it a little bit. So let's just dive in and I'll show you what's going on here. Obviously, it wouldn't be a big strategy game if there wasn't a head-crushing level of personalisation. So, you know, you can affect galaxy shape and size and age and constellations and how many seeds you find in a kumquat and which way the water spins when you flush the toilets, all of that good stuff. Right now, there's only 4 races, and they're pretty much the ones you'd expect. The nerds, who are good at science, the monstrous robot bug people, who are good at killing things, the precursor-worshipping, slightly evil nomad-y ones, and these lads at the end, more about trading and money. But you know what, when I play these games, I'm typically all about the science and the research and all that good stuff, and I've been enjoying doing a lot of science and civilization, so let's go for the nerds. So, here we are out in the galaxy. Lovely, our home system of Groose. I feel like we could have done better on the naming there, lads. I've given us a small little system, by the way, just so I can kind of show this off relatively quickly. Let's just zoom in and you'll see what we've got here. So this is our starting home system. These are our 4 planets, and if you keep zooming in, they'll all kind of line up for you and do a little kind of roll call, which I think is quite nice. So obviously, this is our home planet, Hakim, and we've got 3 other planets in our system as well. Groose 2, 3, and 4, which are all lava worlds. Well, that's an odd coincidence. Yeah, I've played a little bit of this before, just so I kind of get used to it, and yes, that didn't happen last time, so we just happened to have nothing but lava worlds here. This should all seem very familiar to you, by the way, if you've ever kind of played much in the way of strategy games before. Obviously, the stats for my starting planet are food, how fast it grows, production, how fast it can make new stuff, money, you spend it on stuff, or rather dust. Technically, this is dust, but it's effectively money. Science, you use those to research things, and system influence, which is basically it's used for a few things, but mainly it's to make this circle expand, because like your circle of influence around you and all your colonies kind of expands outwards as you just kind of go along. So if you want your kind of colonies to grow kind of faster and grow into each other to potentially kind of like block off enemies, for example, then yeah, you potentially want a little bit more culture. But for the moment, like just like in Civilization, growth and production are probably good starting points for now. Right now we're at the beginning of kind of the spacefaring age. We've only just really kind of got our first few ships out there. We don't really know what's out there. We can see what kind of hyperspace lanes are, and that lets us travel around relatively quickly. But like, I'm not really sure whether that's like, you know, lanes laid out by a precursor race or something. Like, there aren't precursor races because the nomadic people who worship the precursor race worship a precursor race. So either they've been victims of a really elaborate practical joke, or there was a precursor race. Wouldn't that be hilarious if that happened in a sci-fi film or game at some point? If, you know, there's one race that are all about worshipping the glorious precursors, and then it's revealed halfway through, actually there were no precursors. This other race just deliberately left all those ruins on your planet just to mess with your head. That'd be brilliant. So right now we've barely researched anything, so there's not much we can do. We can build some kind of new ships, we'll get to the ships in a second, or we can build some of the technologies that you start off with. The different races start with different technologies, so this one obviously gives you a bit more science. The nerds obviously have the thing that lets you have more science, which is probably a good thing to invest in relatively early on. This thing is a bit more science and a bit more money, and this one is a bit more production and a bit more food. So that one's probably not a bad idea to start off with, to be honest. Bit more production, bit more food, but also it wouldn't hurt to have some extra ships floating around. So I'm going to have like this is like my little explorer ship, the Detector. It's got okay-ish guns, it can defend itself at least, and its role is basically just to go around and have a little look-see at things. And the Incubator is my kind of colonization ship. So I'm just going to have another little explorer ship just so we can figure out what's going on in the world. Lovely. So we'll have one of them in 5 turns. I've also got a fleet here. That's my fleet kind of floating around, which is currently made of 2 ships. 1 Detector and 1 Incubator. So I'm going to send my Detector out into the world to find some stuff. So auto-explore, and he'll just basically head off somewhere and try and find something. There's something down here, he'll get there at some point. And we've discovered a minor faction immediately. Marvellous. So this is basically like a little city-state in Civilization 5. These guys are warmonger, shipbuilders, minus 20% ship cost on system. So if I can actually take these guys over, either by conquering them or convincing them to join me, then they could be an excellent group of people to be building ships for me. Lovely. And we don't know anything else about them just yet. So we've already got pretty good visibility of what's going on in this little corner in space. Also, this bit I love. When you find a new system, if you zoom into it, like the planets line up to give you a quick overview of what they're like so you can see what's in the system. So if we just kind of zoom in here. So we've got Agaro 1, which is terrible. And has already been colonized. Okay, that must be where they're living. Oh, you live on a terrible, terrible world. Look at your crappy, crappy world. Agaro 2, largely barren, couple of curiosities there. Interesting science potential. So it's basically just giving you a quick overview as to what's on here. Is there anything good? Again, decent science potential here. So there's a few things we can research on that planet. Add subterranean curiosity, but otherwise utterly, utterly terrible. Fine. And was that it? Yes, it was just those 4. So they've headed down in that direction, and you head up to here, actually. Go over here and see what you can figure out up here. So right now I'm sending my own little kind of colony ship out unescorted, but I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in the wider world as quickly as possible. All of this is turn-based, not real-time, so it's not that much like Solaris in that regard. Because as you can kind of see by zooming in, there's a lot of information to take in, with each planet having loads of stats and mysteries and all sorts of stuff, so I kind of prefer that I can take my time and make my decisions very, very carefully. Anyway, I think that's more or less everything I can do. Oh no, sorry. Research, obviously. Get some research going on. Right now we're in the first era, which means of course we're limited to first era technology. Once you've unlocked 10 technologies, you can move on to the next era. Because I'm playing as the science lads, I can access era 2 technology immediately, the equivalent of being able to start researching classical technologies while you're still in the ancient era in civilization, which to my mind strikes me as a very, very good sort of thing. The downside is, of course, if you try and start researching this technology like first, because it's relatively expensive and you haven't got your kind of science infrastructure set up, it'll just take ages. So it's probably a good idea to stick to the Era 1 stuff, at least until you've got some better science ready. The game gives you some starting technologies, just some basic stuff for your ship, and obviously if you want to go to new planets, you can do it by unlocking the relevant colonization option up here. So, you know, this one if you want to have the atoll planets, or tropical, or we've already got Boreal. Oh, we could have had Boreal, bastards. Or this one for Tundra, for example. So there's like a particular planet you've got your eye on, so just have a little look-see in here, see if there's any that look like really, really good, for example. Then, do any of these look that good? That one looks okay, but yes, Atoll World's not so bad. I tell you what, I'm not going to rush into that for now. Instead, probably worth just kind of having a little look-see in my research at something more useful. And now this will do. Xenobiology is a starting point. That'll let me actually communicate with the city-states and also build some basic farms. That strikes me as a very useful starting point indeed. I also get to research it faster, because basically my race gets to research stuff faster if we're the first ones to get to it. So like if no one's ever had it before at all, then as a result we get to research it 50% faster. Someone's already got this one, so we get it 25% faster. But yes, xenobiology, that strikes me as a useful sort of thing, and we'll get that done in 3 turns. Just one other thing we start off with, and that is a hero, a kind of a hero unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign him straight away to my exploration fleet. So you, Asareni Zilmar, I'm just going to call him Ace. This is Ace, and we're going to assign him to the fleet. Oh no, never mind, I can't because the fleet's away from home right now. Fine, he can just live here for a moment until the fleet gets back. That's a-okay. He can join up to the next fleet, in fact, that'll be fine. So, that's probably all we can do for now. Obviously, you know, we're getting a bit of influence over time, we're gaining a bit of money over time. Sorry, dust. It's dust, not money. I mean, it's money, but it's dust. And xenobiology too. Lovely. And into the next turn we go. So, my little explorer ship, you head up here and see what you find. You have found Takim. Okay, let's zoom in and see what we've got here. I like the little kind of zoom in and just give you the information there. Takim 1, inhospitable, utterly useless. Takim 2, large ash, inhospitable, but extremely high production, if I could get that sort of world set up. And outstanding for money, but a large... Oh, I'm guessing we can't settle on a large gas giant. Oh, hang on. Was that large gas temperate? Yes indeed, it is a gas world, but apparently the technology does exist to settle on it, though I'm guessing it might belong to a later era, because that sounds like a bit of a technological challenge. And Dill, do we already have sight of this already? Yes, it looks like we do. We're close enough to have got sight of this one. So Dill 1, that's a snow world, medium-sized, pretty worthless, but there's a bit of science on there. And nothing particularly good there either. Few things we can research, but nothing major. What we should probably do, in fact, is head back over here and have a look at Ugaro a bit closer. The reason I want to do that is... no. Oh, you had to complete your journey, did you? Oh dear, never mind. Well, you made it back here, that's good. I feel like you did not take the most direct route there. The reason why we want to have a little look-see here is you may notice there's these things here, these little question marks. That is something odd about this planet. So what we can do is send probes down to the planet to investigate the mysterious thing. Some of them are locked away until you've got, like, say, a bigger fleet, you know, higher expedition power as part of your fleet. Because I've only got, like, one ship on its own right now. It can basically just float around some planets and fire probes down to the surface to figure out what's going on. Some of them will give you kind of good stuff. So, for example, it kind of tells you. So that might give me a luxury resource deposit or a strategic resource deposit. This one might give me an anomaly of some description. This one is, that's an anomaly, and luxury strategic. Okay, because I don't know if I'm going to settle this world, I'm going to go for the two that are like the, the luxury resource deposits. They might be useful. So I've got 2 probes right now, and they'll regenerate over time. So fire a probe, and we'll see what is on this planet. And we've got ourselves some titanium. So we've immediately just picked up 35 titanium that now just belongs to me. I can use that to buy things later. Like, you don't have to worry about it in the early game too much, but you just buy stuff with it later on. And we'll do the same to this planet over here, Ugaro 3. Fire the probe down, and what have we got ourselves? And again, just a little bit of titanium, but this time only 5 titanium. So we got kind of lucky with that first one. That second one was a bit feeble. And because that faction is aggressive, already my reputation with them is going down because they basically hate literally everyone. Their temperament is apparently aggressive, so I'm losing reputation with them over time, even when I'm not doing anything. And right now, I can't do anything with them because I haven't got xenobiology yet. So right now, I can't even speak their language. As a result, we probably won't be able to do much with them. We should probably just move on. Let's head over here to the next world. We can do the same thing, by the way, on our home world. This is quite nice, by the way. So you can see there's like all these kind of things over here that we can investigate. Once you are already in a system and you've got a colony settled, you can start doing that to all of the worlds nearby. Like, I don't know, scientists from your world just kind of hop on a shuttle and investigate Groose 4. So as a result, like, I wouldn't mind doing that. I would say once we've got the next ship set up, I will actually go and investigate a life form on this planet over here. I wouldn't mind knowing what life form is living on the lava world, or I can investigate our own world. Now, that's probably more important to do, because if you investigate your own world, you might find something that actually, like, you know, impacts the amount of food. Because if we, like, found, like, a new miracle vegetable, shut up, it does happen, then, like, that increases the amount of food on the planet for free, so that might be really useful for the growth rate. So, as a result of that, I might go for... That's an anomaly or anomaly. Yeah, I'm going to go for the subterranean one next after we're done building the ship, because as a result we might get a luxury resource deposit or a strategic resource deposit. So you might just get like a one-off dump of something, or you might gain something that you're permanently benefiting from, which is nice. You can discover really good things that make planets way better than kind of what they are at the moment. That's what's interesting about colonizing in this game, which is like if you find a planet just happens to match up to what your kind of species needs, you can just go and colonize it immediately, and that's tempting because this game's kind of a bit more of a land grab. There doesn't seem to be like any penalty for having as many settlements as you can, so you may as well, if you can, just literally just take over everything just to kind of maximize the amount of money and science you're getting in, and it does just kind of work into a big land grab, and that's why conflict kind of pops up, because you literally start squeezing against other empires' borders. But ideally, before you settle a planet, you're going to want to figure out what the secrets that are buried on it are, because otherwise there might just be a nasty surprise waiting for you later. And unfortunately, my little kind of colonization ship can't actually do that, by the way. Only the exploration ships can fire probes out, which is why I wanted a second one of them straight away. So, new turn, and my little ship should get close enough to see what's going on here. Ooh, hello. What have I just found here? So, Placidus 1, inhospitable, it's a swamp world. Nothing much there, some food, nothing major. And again, nothing major there. Fine, so a medium swamp and a large swamp. So if we happen to like swamp world, this would be a lovely place. Also, you've got a lovely red sun, isn't that gorgeous? Well, nothing to worry about there. Then next turn, you just head down here and hopefully you'll get visibility of that straight away. You, meanwhile, head down here and see what you can find down here. Over in the Hath system. Zoom in, give me an introduction to Hath. And we've got Hath 1, huge and barren. Lots of science opportunities there, but otherwise literally worthless. Hath 2, a medium ocean world. Ooh, lots of food. That might be alright in theory. Hath 3, loads of life forms, loads of science opportunities, otherwise useless. Damn it, Hath, you are not a good place, are you? Dear oh dear, lots of science opportunities, but nothing much else. but in a moment, my ship's got no probes at the moment. In one turn, I'm going to get a probe back, so as a result, I'll be able to fire another probe. This is why you need multiple exploration ships, because you burn through probes very, very quickly. And my first bit of research is complete xenobiology. Lovely, so now I've got sustainable farms that I can build on any given planet, and xenosynergy, so I can have a chat with those warlike race if I wanted to, but honestly, because they're warlike, I'm never going to get them on side, so there's not much point. Now at this point, it's worth just kind of considering what's floating around and what might be worth taking out. So we've got, say, we've got an ocean world here that's got a ton of food on it, but otherwise is not so great. Are there any good candidates whatsoever for being just taken over? Well, these ones all don't seem that great. We can't have any of these worlds because you can see, like, it's already got the grey boundary around it. If we want to get these guys on side, we need to literally either invade and take them over, or otherwise convince them to join us, which is either, a lot of military strength, or a lot of influence spent. So that's not going to work. This is snow, but that's not a great world, to be honest. This world's not too bad, but it is very, very small. So maximum population 3. Yeah, that's a tiny, tiny world. We probably don't want to be bothering with that. Up here, we do have a large swamp world. That theoretically could work. A nice big swamp world up here. Some production, some kind of money, fair bit of food to grow quickly. That might be worth considering. There's also a huge tropical world here that's actually not that bad. 3 food, 6 production. That's okay as a starting point, and it'll be way out here, so a nice little kind of northern tip to our empire. So if we don't find a world that's perfect for us just on its own, we're probably wanting to be looking at, either tropical or swamp. Actually, you know what? I'm going to commit to the tropical world right now. And the reason for that is when you're kind of doing a colonization research thing, it comes with something else at the same time. So while I'm unlocking the tropical world, I'm also unlocking the warp drive. This is something I really, really like about this game. So we've got these little space lanes here, but this area here with this kind of little pattern on it, right now I can't go through that at all. If I want to go through that, I need the warp drive. So I'm going to research that right now, because otherwise, this is a closed system. Eventually I'm going to reach a bunch of dead ends, and there's going to be literally nothing but the systems I've already discovered here. I literally cannot go just along the space lanes to anywhere to, like, this side of the galaxy. If you want to go to the other side of the galaxy, you're going to need to head out into the black without knowing where you're going. And it's much, much slower because, like, you just move really fast along the hyperspace lanes. That's a lovely touch. I really like that. I'll show that off in a second. And our AI has popped up to give me quests, because this is how the game structures itself. It gives you quests while you're going along. So Enfer, my little AI friend, is at this point going to start giving me quests. Though admittedly, he gives you a choice of quests, which I quite like. So he wants me to win 3 battles, so low-cost ships and empire improvements. So basically something I can build on my home world, or rather any world, and then build ships for cheaper. Or if I want to go down a scientific route, I need to take my exploration fleet and orbit around 2 systems out of your constellation. That's what I was just saying. Outside of, like, the starting constellation, the linked together groups, I need to basically find different ones, and he'll give me Sophon Free Move, a support module of some description, which I can plug into one of my ships. No idea what that does. I've only played this game for a few hours. Basically, an upgrade for my ships. Or if I want to be diplomatic, raise my relationship with a minor faction to 90 or higher. Probably shouldn't select that one, because if I did, then yeah, unfortunately the nearest guys who are the minor factions are warlike and already hate me. But if you do, you get a seductory. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a cross between seduction and luxury, which means it fundamentally sounds like a very good idea. Enables the bribery of minor factions. Okay, so again, that's an empire improvement. Effectively like a political ability or standpoint. You build it like you build anything else, but as a result it gives you new options when dealing with other factions. So I could bribe a minor faction. That's quite fun. Now, you know what? I will go for scientific. A Sophon Free Move module, whatever one of those is. Give me the scientific quest. I am the nerd, so I may as well do the nerdy thing. So now I've got the quest, what a good idea, and I need to find a way out of my starting constellation. Though for the moment, I'm still exploring my starting constellation as quickly as I can. So you move over here and discover, ooh, we have got ourselves a battle. I think these are just pirates rather than part of any particular faction. So I should probably get out, because this is my incubator ship that's got literally no combat strength, and they're 2 prowlers. So that's probably a good idea to abandon this sector just for the moment. Yes, for the moment at least, please retreat. Thank you. So he retreats. There was no battle. Anything good in Columba, by the way? Because we were there for a second, so we can still get a view of it. A tiny jungle planet, inhospitable, not that great, really. Columba 2, a huge ash world. high production there. That's not too bad. And a large frozen gas. Wait, can you freeze gas? Is that how gas works? Are you sure? I'm liking how much science that world produces, though. That's pretty bloody tempting. Anyway, this all works nicely for me, because I'd say this ship now can go up towards here, because in 3 turns it'll reach to Keem, and in 3 turns, well rather in 2 turns, I will have rare earth foams, and we can set up our first colony up here on the tropical world. That will do very, very nicely. Meanwhile, this guy can head down here and figure out what's going on here. Ah! We've got ourselves more flipping space pirates. Battle at Dorado. Double Prowler. I can't really win that fight because I'm outnumbered 2-1. The game gives you an idea of how likely you are to win. So don't do that, because you don't control it yourself. You kind of dictate tactics, and then it's kind of decided by the AI. So we'll show that off in a second, but for the moment, we'll want to be retreating back out of here again. We need to build a better fleet before we can do any of that. And would you believe, speaking of a better fleet, there's a new one coming in any moment, so that'll be good. New turn, and you can see there my boundaries kind of expand just a little bit there, because yes, as I've got influence, my boundaries keep expanding. I think eventually your boundaries expand enough to eat nearby systems. I haven't actually seen that yet, but I assume that's true. Apart from this one, these guys will just have border tension with sooner or later, because I'll keep expanding and eventually I'll kind of squeeze their area of influence. So, 1 new ship currently in our hangars. Beautiful. So it's in the hangar right now, and at this point I should assign my great leader to that. So, assign him to the fleet. Oh no, sorry, I need to create a new fleet first, because he can't go to a ship in the hangar. The ship needs to be flying first. So, we've got a ship in the hangar here. Create a new fleet from what's in the hangar. There we are. We've now got a new fleet. Go back over to our leader. Assign him to the fleet. Only one's available. The Scandium. Lovely, I like these names. So he is now assigned to that fleet, and the fleet has just picked up his personal ship, because he's got his own ship that's a little bit better. So to save a bit of time, I'm going to send him down to here, and he can, no, this fleet here, head down to here, and reunite with your brethren down here. The first thing we'll do is we'll smash these pirates over here to get some experience going on, and to make sure that we're strong enough to handle pirates. Because now we're going to be 3 versus 2, because we'll have 2 of our basic ships, 2 basic pirates, but we've got a hero present, so that should be more than good enough. Tragically though, my incubator is actually a little bit low on health. I think it took a few knocks from the pirates before it was able to escape. Very, very sad indeed. Is the same true for... Oh yes, the same is true for this ship. I didn't realise that. Yeah, if you retreat from a battle, you get shot in the back as you run by the looks of it. To be expected, I suppose. So, my rare earth foam is completed, so I can now handle tropical worlds. You head up here, get ready to settle this tropical world, because now this world is colonizable. Very, very nice indeed. And it is a huge tropical world, meaning, yeah, once it gets going, it can have a very big population on it. Big population's obviously very useful for all sorts of reasons, so a huge tropical world, that'll do as a good starting planet, yes. Those guys are now 2 fleets standing together. Just select both of them, merge the fleets, and now we've got 1 single much larger fleet. Beautiful. Now we've got that much larger fleet, start moving it up towards the pirates, and next turn we'll be able to murder them. Now that we've got worlds to colonize, I'm going to go for efficient shielding, because not only is that, of course, better shields, it also gets us some slightly better ships. Bigger and nastier ships, probably useful for tearing apart pirates. Marvellous. So, here's where life gets good. Colony ship arrives in this world and obviously can colonize a planet. So, I would say colonize this world right here. We just send some people down there. And this is setting up an outpost. Obviously, it's not a kind of a colony or a planet yet. Right now, we've just got a few people sitting around in a little tent on the planet's surface. In order for it to become a proper planet, we need to let it grow. We can't just let it go incredibly slowly. In 14 turns, it'll grow to be a proper planet, and we can start, like, building stuff on it anyway, because the population will have got large enough that we can just, like, you know, we'll have a proper workforce there. But, for the moment, if we want to speed it up, we've got to spend some resources doing it. If someone else also has an outpost on that world, and as a result you're kind of racing for it, you can steal some people from them, you can spend money to speed things up. So yes, I'm going to spend some money on what I guess is like a marketing campaign or something? I don't know. So yeah, spread the word. We're going to spend 150 money because we've not really got anything else to spend money on. Or if you've got tons of influence, you can spend influence on that as well. So now we're down to 10 turns until this planet's ready to go. And maybe I'll spend that influence on speeding it up even further. I'm not sure. I'll see if I feel like it. So there we are. That system now has that little symbol around it saying you've got an outpost here, but it's not a proper system yet. So that will become a planet in a bit of time. Meanwhile, our fleet moves up here and we begin the fight. So, battle at Columbia. 2 detectors and my hero in a limo versus 2 prowlers. So what we do now is we select how we want to fight this battle strategically. If we decide to be incredibly prudent and both keep our distance, we might theoretically have a draw when neither of us even fires on the other. So what we know previously is in 100% of battles we've run into this guy so far, he's gone for sniper, where he decided to keep his distance and just kind of fire at us at range. But he could also kind of be evasive, or he could kind of get right up close. So, just in case he does that again, because he did that last time, I'm just going to say we're going to get right up close and personal, because that actually gives us 100% compatibility between the weapon ranges of the flotilla ships and their intended firing range. Seems like we've got short-range weapons, so we may as well get up close and personal and just utterly nail him. 3 versus 2 with a hero, we should win. Now, the way this works is you get to kind of now watch this battle happening in a little cinematic screen, though you have no control over anything other than the camera. I think it's quite cool. So here we are, the battle at Columbia. These can be a little bit slow and I might cut some of them out, but it does give a sense of like drama to proceedings, which is quite nice. So here we are, my fleet just entering the battlefield, and their fleet is, I think, way over there. My guns come out and get ready. I just quite like the drama of it all. If you want to, you can kind of treat it more like a Stellaris battle by zooming right out and just kind of looking at it all from above. But yes, you can see there, the ships start at quite a bit of range. So once you've got like big ships with very long range cannons, these battles kick off a bit quicker. But as we've just got basic ships, it's going to take us a minute just to literally get in range of each other. So I think we'll just cut ahead for the moment. If you get close, you can also have proper little stats. Here we are, we're actually firing at each other now. Lovely. So there we are, he's starting to take a little bit of damage. Let's just head over to our friends over here and see how they're all getting on. Make sure they're all nice and fit. Yeah, the damaged ones at the front over here. This guy took a bit of damage already, and they're just firing over there now. And then just let's go back into auto camera for drama. There we are. So we can see here the limo's got loads of health. So the limo's tanking some of the shots. One of them's already blown up, which means they'll now kind of focus fire on the other one. And he blows up too. Nice, easy, decisive victory. I just quite like it. It does give battles a sense of like weight and drama next to how they can be kind of in Stellaris, where sometimes it feels like if it's a little battle, just because you're so far zoomed out, they're very pretty in Stellaris, but they don't have much drama to them. This kind of injects a little bit of drama to proceedings, which is very welcome. Anyway, probably the best thing we can do now is head home for a quick bit of repairing, because obviously a couple of our ships have taken a knock, and if we're going down here out into the middle of nowhere, probably best we've actually got some full-strength ships. So let's head home and repair very quickly. And on our home world, we were doing an expedition on our own planet, in fact, and we found a Hyperium resource deposit. So obviously that's one of the resources. We're not really using it yet. It's something to do with like ship upgrades, but we're not doing many of them yet, so we don't need to worry about it. But it is nice we've got a little bit of Hyperium, and apparently we found a stockpile of Hyperium, so now we're going to get a little bit coming in as well. Very welcome. Nope, I cannot afford to repair either of these ships. They're both about equally damaged and it would take 285 money to do so. So yes, repairing is expensive. I either need more money or more upgrades related to repairing. Well, in that case, reform the fleet we just had. And you 3 guys, head down here, out of your way, lovely. And start moving down towards the Pirates of Dorado. We should be able to murder them nice and easy as well. And we've run into someone. We have met an unknown empire. It's the precursor race worshipping nomadic people. So the Voidiani and our church acknowledge you. Well, isn't that lovely? They are apparently reserved. We just met you. Don't go in for a kiss, alright? 1, we're not sure if they've got mouths, and 2, they're not sure if they want to yet. So, where did we run into you? Okay, so 1 ship over here, and that probably means they, we can see the edge of their empire. So, they have got an empire that stretches over to here. So in theory, if we wanted to start blocking them off, we might either want to take over these guys as quickly as possible, but we're really going to struggle to take over these guys because they hate literally everyone, or we might want to head into Dill to try and kind of block this area off, and then if we needed to, we could close the borders to them, though that might be a little bit on the confrontational side. Let's just stay out of their way for now. We don't need to cause trouble with them. Instead, our fleet can just keep on moving down here and figuring out what's over in this direction. take a quick diversion down here while we're passing by. Oh, indeed, they're doing the same thing. What have we got in this little world here? Oh, it's Lava Central over here. So, ISO1, a huge lava world. Lots of production there, obviously, because, you know, all of the minerals rising to the surface in the lava. But otherwise, not particularly useful and very hard to grow. Unless you've got, like, very specialised farming technology, you're going to struggle with any of these worlds. But if you can settle on lava worlds, you are going to be in Clover over here, production like crazy. Right, in that case, you guys head back this way and go find those pirates. So while we're passing by Hath, we may as well see if we can get something useful out of all of this, because I have 4 flipping drones here that I can just send down and have a little look-see. So what have we got here? A luxury resource deposit on this medium ocean world. That's probably one of the more interesting worlds in this area, to be honest. Let's have a look, see what's going on here. So drop a drone in, and we have got ourselves 15 Hyperium. Lovely. So just a bit of Hyperium there. Ooh, and we've come across an event too. We followed a mysterious electromagnetic ping all the way to its source, a half-buried control centre in the overgrown ruins of one of the system's planets. A quick raid of the surprisingly modern computer system reveals detailed maps of the constellation, including a few systems in unexpected places. Okay, so because I've been going around scanning diligently, you run across little quests and encounters, and we've got ourselves a map. So now it said a map of the constellation. So now we know what the total constellation does look like. Beyond Dorado, there is one other world down here, so we know that's all we've got. So the question you may now be asking yourself is, well, if that's all we've got, how exactly do we end up out in the world? Do you just kind of grab your fleet and just kind of click over here? No, you can't. You can't just go out into the middle of nowhere because you don't know what's there. Presumably, like, you know, you're traveling at still, like, faster than light? Faster than... No, not faster than light. Maybe faster than light. I'm not sure. How big is that? Yeah, because even if you're travelling faster than light, you don't get across the universe very fast. Because the thing about the universe is, it's relatively large. So what you need to do instead is fire out probes. The same probes we've been using for scanning planets. You can see that this is now one of the options. Launching probes as a fleet action. So what we do with these is we literally just fire them out, and we might find something. And if you find something, of course, then you can start going on a very slow journey through the path that you've just carved here through space. Or otherwise, it's not really a path you've carved. It's more just like the knowledge of what's there and not there, so you can safely travel through it, albeit very, very slowly. So if you want to, you can start just kind of firing probes out there, looking for stuff. And if you can find it, you can get out there potentially before anyone else does. So just for the sake of it, let's just fire one probe off in this sort of direction. We're just going to fire a probe over here, and we're going to see if it happens to find anything. So the probe heads off, and it's basically going to spend 4 turns going in this direction. It won't go further than that final line. You can see that it's basically going to go like through that line, then to that line, then to that line, then to the top. So it won't necessarily go that far, but it will give us some visibility as to what's actually going on in the world. I quite like it. It's quite good. Plus, it does just get rid of the little kind of black pattern indicating you can't go here. I'm not sure if that means I can immediately follow it or not, but I'm not going to because that would be a waste. Instead, we need to go murder ourselves some pirates. Because of course doing this is getting my hero experience so he can start leveling up too. And that gets him skill points, which we can spend in his little skill tree, which is nice. I like this, the fact that you can really customize your heroes. One of the things that was missing in Stellaris was like the admirals and the generals. They had like a couple of intrinsic abilities, but you couldn't really personalize them. These guys you can, which I quite like. And also, they have very different things going on. So like this guy has the generic skills that all heroes have access to, but then he's got 2 that are particular to his personality. So Sophon's specific skills, that's everyone gets these. Sophon's get these. And this one's tied to what sort of person he is. So he's more corporate. So he's got corporate abilities. If he were an adventurer, there'd be a whole different set of skills here. So his skills are really more about hanging out on a planet and helping out down there. I've just kind of press-ganged him into the Navy because it's a good way of getting XP, and it's a good way of us making sure we can explore and clear out the pirates. But yeah, you can really personalize all your heroes. I like that. So literally I can have him sitting on a planet and making 10 gold a day just by being there because he's so good at being a corporate leader. Very, very nice. Or alternatively, I can make him more sciencey. If I have him sitting on a planet, he can generate 10 science by himself for the system and a further 2 science per his level. So for him, 14 science a day. Very, very significant. But for the moment, I'm going to have him be curious and thus give him vision range and movement range for the ship he's on, so we can explore a bit more easily. There we are. So the following turn, my probe keeps moving out, but so far hasn't found anything particularly of interest. And I can head down here, not quite to the pirates, but pretty darn close. We'll murder them next time. But most importantly, my research has finished. So now, just in case I do want to go for more of a kind of a conquering everyone sort of victory, I can now build some much better ships. So this detector was our basic ship. It can have, what's that? 10 movement points, 12 attack, 6 in shielding. I now have this little kind of protector support craft, 32 in the shielding, 24 in attack, but it's a little bit slow, only 6 movement points I think is how I'm reading that. And the accelerator, more of an attacking ship there, so yes, 36 attack, 68 defense, oh yes, but this one's a little bit more expensive and slow to put together, but that's now kind of like the new highest level of ship that we've got going on there. Would take us a while to build, would take us 6, actually not that long, 6 turns to build a really rather impressive ship that will be able to just chew pirates apart. Very, very nice indeed. But of course, if we're doing that, that's tying up production because you only get 1 production queue. So as a result, we probably don't want to be doing that yet, but it's nice to have it available just in case anyone nasty starts kind of making odd looks in our direction. Probably very worth skipping forward to xenolinguistics here. In particular, that lets us chat with other empires. That strikes me as worthwhile, so apparently we've got one on our doorstep. So, send in the fleet, murder the pirates. This is a good angle right here. I like this angle. How are we doing? Don't go for this guy. Don't go for this guy. Oh dear. I'm a little bit worried about this guy's health. Luckily, I think, yes, they are indeed. At least one of them is going for our hero. So with concentrated fire on, I think 2 of them are going for him. And then, oh, you've already exploded. Well, that's marvellously good news. And the other one has 2. Great. You're down to 54 hit points. You're very flimsy, but you're still alive. We can repair you later. And that gives us a proper view of Dorado. A small boreal world, pretty crappy. Dorado 2, tiny snow world. Basically nothing there apart from a little bit of science potential. A huge ocean world with lots of food on it. Okay, potentially. And a small snow world with a few bits and pieces. Okay, nothing desperately spectacular. You may as well head this way and finish off having a little look-see. In fact, you might be able to get visibility of that this turn. Just, you have discovered the planet Tor. Do I care about the planet Tor? The Endless Society developed on this large, cool planet orbiting a star they called Prime. Though it is the birthplace of this culture that dominated the galaxy for centuries, they were forced to depart when over-exploitation destabilized the core and crushed, triggering seismic changes. Though it is a treasure of artifacts and holds a near-mystical reputation, its history is one of sorrow. I assume that's in the... Yes, that's in the world I just found. Marvellous. And indeed, these guys are having a little look-see what's going on here as well. And are we close enough to have a little look-see? So, Baton 1... So, a couple of ruins over there, small ocean world, nothing special. Tor, a unique planet. Inhospitable, but it's a tundra. Ooh, it's a good planet. It's a very good planet, in fact. I'm guessing you can't live on this world either, but this world automatically generates 8 kind of cultural influence on its own, as well as having good everything. I would say... that's potentially worth going for. Yeah, I'm going to try and, after I'm done with my xenolinguistics, unless we can have a chat with these lads, I would not mind potentially going for Tundra Worlds to see if we can grab Tor. Because it's not quite a Gaia world, but it's definitely way better than any other world we're going to find around here. Though admittedly, it is very close to these lads. If they have already spotted this and are rushing towards Tundra Tech, they're going to get it first, unfortunately. And that is it. That's the entirety of what this game calls our constellation. And that means we need to find something else, or alternatively, simply wait for the game to flag something else to us. But on the way back towards our home system, I think we might just kind of fire out a few probes just to see what's going on in the world. So, first up, head over here to... Oh, they already got it. They were on top of that. Yeah, they colonised Tor straight away. Blimey. They saw that and they decided they were having it, and good for them. It's a damn good world. Never mind. On the plus side, what I can do is help myself to the Mistress of Tor by quickly going and scanning it. There we are. And we have got ourselves nothing. We've grabbed 5 red sangs, a kind of special type of mushroom, but obviously the red sang that's there, they'll presumably continue to benefit from. So that's a shame. Well, while we're passing by, let's just quickly scan this world as well. Just kind of loot these worlds dry before we leave. And we have got ourselves Kessler Syndrome. A long remnant of the past lost civilization, the upper atmosphere of this planet is full of drifting debris. There is a cost to removing these remnants, and space-based experiments as well as satellites must be either expensively protected or often replaced. So this world actually generates less production, less money and less science than you might think at initial look, because there's a problem with it. So that there is good to know. So if you just kind of settled on this world because you wanted to kind of grab this system, you'd potentially have run into a bit of it. Oh dear, they've sent a massive doom fleet. I should probably leave. Ah, and the AI has given us another little quest here. Quest started, rumour of an academy. There are heroes and there are heroes with a capital H. Legends of prowess familiar to all yet witnessed by none. The heroes of these tall tales are a dime a dozen. And when one speaks of these heroes, masters of dust and its vast power, one also speaks of the place where they studied and where they learned these feats of strength and genius. It is simply referred to as the Academy. Some seem to present it as the centre of higher learning, others mention it in tones more suitable to worship and epiphany. It would be good to know the truth of all this. So, I need to figure out whether there's a mystical academy somewhere by scanning 6 atmospheric curiosities. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as we have been given our first little kind of quest here, I'm going to call this apart for now, because I'd like to look at this a little bit more. You know, it's a strategy game, there's a fair bit of stuff here, even though it is only just entering early access. So, I'm going to look at this again, like, tomorrow, later this week, sometime very, very soon indeed, and we will have a bit of a deeper dig. But yeah, promising so far. Interesting, good little solid foundation. So, more soon, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Endless Space 2. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Oh, cannibalism. Good. That's a useful thing. Good news, guys. Unless he rolls dreadfully, he should be safe. And that was a pretty dreadful roll. And now the ship doesn't explode. Yay! Not explode. Not explode. Not explode. We're running out of dice again. I wonder if there's any morphine left.